Hello to many of you all. Really appreciate you coming out on a cold night this evening. But I hope you'll learn something a little bit more that you may not have known about the Bicentennial. My special thanks to our hosts at the Missouri State Archives, Elizabeth Ray, for all your help getting this set up. Brian Rogers is in the back room running the camera equipment too, and thanking him as well. State Archivist John Dugan is here. He also represented Missouri State Archives under the Secretary of State Office on the Bicentennial Commission and was very involved in it as well. And we always enjoyed our partnership with our hosts that are members of the Bicentennial Alliance. And thanking Garrett Kramer, who's also here as well, my boss, our Executive Director of the State Historical Society, and our Associate Director, Gerald Hirsch. Both of them, their ideas, their support, and enthusiasm since the Society was tapped to take on this project of the Bicentennial, their leadership really ran through the whole 10 years and more, so I want to thank them for that. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this clicker to work okay here. Here we go. Great. So, Missouri embraced our moniker Show Me in 2022, putting together more than 300 endorsed projects and events online and in person to commemorate the Bicentennial. One of the goals was to involve all 114 counties and the independent city of St. Louis in the Bicentennial, and it did happen. Among the proudest achievements last year were that volunteers gave 168,636 service hours of their time for the Bicentennial Community Challenge, Service Challenge, and that's just a number that was reported. So whether it was planting trees in our communities, working with veteran groups, assisting at vaccine clinics, or supporting art and cultural events, Missourians came through to help each other during a deadly pandemic and found ways to bring joy and Missouri pride into our lives in a very difficult year. Now, telling the story of Missouri is as complex as its history. Missouri statehood came with great struggle and fierce debate over the issue of slavery before we were accepted into the Union under the Missouri Compromise. The institution of slavery, the removal of Native Americans in our state, and the marginalization of people by race, religion, and gender are parts of our history. So in planning for the 200th anniversary, we understood that commemorating the Bicentennial would not be a celebration for all Missourians. There are wounds to heal and much of our history for us to learn from each other. There is room to grow as we begin our third century as part of the United States. On August 10th, let's see, I don't think we're seeing our map. Can you all see that? I'm not seeing it here, but I think it disappeared on us. But anyway, on August 10th, 1821, Missouri became the 24th state to enter the Union. 200 years later, Missourians would commemorate this milestone with events and projects in the years leading up to and through the Bicentennial year of 2021 and extending into 2022. The planning for the Missouri Bicentennial would take 8 years, longer than it took Missouri to petition the U.S. government and be accepted into the Union. We had this moment in time in 2021, a marker, if you will, to study our past, reflect on it, and find ways within each of our own lives of how we as Missourians can make this place we call home a better experience for all of us and future generations. And there's the map. It looks like it has appeared, so. In 2013, the Missouri General Assembly issued House Concurrent Resolution 7, tasking the State Historical Society to develop plans, ideas, and proposals to commemorate and celebrate Missouri's Bicentennial. This role fit us well. The mission since our founding in 1898 is to collect, preserve, publish, exhibit, and make available material related to all aspects and periods of Missouri history. The Society also seeks to generate interest and appreciation of the rich cultural heritage of the state and its people through education and outreach. SHSMO staff would become the main coordinators of the state's Bicentennial. However, building this team would go far beyond our organization. The Missouri Bicentennial Alliance would become a coalition of 18 statewide nonprofit organizations and government agencies that work together to develop and promote statewide projects for the Bicentennial. The Bicentennial Alliance members created projects of their own, including collaboration with other organizations in the state. Missouri Humanities teamed up with the Kinder Institute on Constitutional Democracy for a traveling exhibit, Struggle for Statehood, that chronicles the 3 years of fierce debates over Missouri's admission into the Union. The exhibit is also in digital form on the Missouri Humanities website. Both organizations hosted a conference in 2019 titled A Fire Bell in the Sky, or in the Past, the Missouri Crisis at 200, bringing together scholars to discuss Missouri's contentious application for statehood. Missouri State Archives created a digital resource of 200 primary sources that help tell the story of Missouri history. Notable books, musical performances, lecture series, a PBS documentary, and even a prairie restoration project would be among the diverse projects created by members of the Missouri Bicentennial Alliance. Now, early on, meetings with focus groups were held at libraries, historical societies, and community halls across the state, just to find out how Missourians wanted to commemorate our bicentennial. In 2017, Michael Sweeney was hired as the Missouri Bicentennial Coordinator to manage project development and outreach to organizations throughout Missouri. What we learned from those early town hall meetings was that Missourians felt they could understand our state better by learning about the people, culture, history, and natural environment of each region. The challenge would be to find, as Michael would always call it, that shared somethingness among our diversity, so we can unite each region of the state and learn from one another. The State Historical Society of Missouri developed a logo, which you can see here on your left. Christine George, who is a former colleague of the Society, she designed both the Bicentennial logo and Missouri license plate that was issued to motor vehicles in 2018. For the logo, Christina chose the colors of the Missouri flag, red, white, and blue. The 3 stars at the top represent Missouri's past, present, and future, and the ribbon at the bottom of the logo represents the state's accomplished milestone year. By 2020, Michael would be joined with 3 other additional staff members who would make up the core team of the Bicentennial. Pictured above, left to right there, is myself, Michael, Danielle Griego, and Morgan Dennehy. The photo was taken on a sweltering hot day in July 2021 on a visit to the Missouri State Fairgrounds, which would host daily bicentennial events at the State Fair a month later. Now, this photo was taken after Statehood Day events in August 2021. Michael kept a map of Missouri with the red pens to mark all the places in the state where he traveled for the Bicentennial. And it was a total of 165,000 miles, back and forth from his home base in Kansas City. The rest of our Bicentennial team also joined Michael on the road for many of these miles to set up exhibits, give presentations, help plan events, recognize contest winners, and attend a variety of community programs as part of the Bicentennial. While many local and regional projects for the Bicentennial were underway, Governor Mike Parson established the Missouri Bicentennial Commission in October 2018 to assist our team in the planning for Missouri's statewide bicentennial events around Statehood Day in August 2021. Co-chaired by Jefferson City Mayor Carrie Turgeon and Senator Ron Richard, the commission represented directors from state departments, leaders of the Missouri General Assembly, judges among the judicial branch, and directors of cultural and historical organizations in the state. Now, once the pandemic forced many of us to learn a new technology called Zoom, we were able to safely meet and discuss ideas, concerns, and how we could hold statehood events the following year with much uncertainty. We were not sure really whether we could even move forward with in-person events in August. But each month, the Bicentennial Commission met virtually, and its members were an invaluable part of our team's success. I can honestly say that it was a leadership team who worked diligently and selfishly for the greater good and gave tremendous amounts of their time and their department staff resources towards our projects and events. Remember me talking about the early focus groups and the desire to find out what is unique of each region but could tie us all together? Well, one of the ways we could possibly show this shared something was the creation of a bicentennial quilt. Now, our staff at the State Historical Society were not quilters, so this would become a project that relied on experts in the state who spent time sewing and piecing together heirloom quilts. So with the help of Missouri Star Quilt Company and the Missouri State Quilters Guild, a call went out to residents and quilt clubs in all 114 counties and the city of St. Louis to submit a quilt block that would represent their county. There were no restrictions on what each county could design on their block and no restrictions on the type of application used to create it. The only requirements was that it be no more than 6 by 6 inches. So here is Newton County's representation, the birthplace and childhood home of George Washington Carver. Paid tribute to the famous scientist who paved the way for discoveries in agriculture and helped revitalize the southern economy. This block was created by Robin Gregg. Wright County depicted Pa's Fiddle, which came alive in stories written by Laura Ingalls Wilder about her childhood in the series, which included Little House on the Prairie. Wilder and her husband moved to the small town of Mansfield, where Wilder would pen her famous and popular books read by children around the world. Vicki Johnson, the museum supervisor of the Wilder home, stitched the block from a design by Barbara Brainzer. Douglas County submitted a quilt to pay tribute to the home of the Missouri Foxtrotter. It featured the horse Duke as a tribute to the quilter's family. Sherry Treadway included in her block submission a photograph of her father on Duke, which gave this block special meaning. Now let's see, that one is, okay, it shows Douglas County, but that one should be Cole County. I got it written wrong. But anyway, this one is in Cole County, for all of those here who's from Cole County. It was created when 79-year-old Janice Manchester, who wrote in her submission that she had been quilting and sewing most of her life and has lived in Missouri since 1960. She was part of a task force that helped to raise money for a monument of the Lewis and Clark expedition located just east of the state capitol. Dunklin County, created by Virginia Lee Smith, represents the Little River Drainage District, constructed in the early part of the 20th century to drain the Boot Hill swamplands for farming. Now, I really love the detail in this block. I don't know if you can see it very well here, but it measures only 6 by 6 inches, yet it features the variety of agricultural products produced in the region, such as rice, potato, peanut, soy, cotton, corn, and other foods. And finally, this quilt also represents the city of St. Louis. That's exactly what it says in Braille. It tells the story of other advancements, including the Missouri School for the Blind, established in St. Louis in 1851. It would be the first educational institution to adopt Braille, and is also where the first Braille printing press began. Linda Roberts created the block in honor of her niece, a student at the Missouri School for the Blind. The Missouri Bicentennial Quilt would go on to tour across the state, part of 2020 and through 2022, an extended tour as the pandemic delayed our quilt exhibition. Now on the right is a stop at Joplin City Hall. The photos on the left were quilts created by several counties that also chose to create their own quilts to reflect the communities within their county for the bicentennial. So the top left is the Clark County Bicentennial Quilt, and the bottom left is the Texas County Bicentennial Quilt. There we go. Now there were more quilts created and on display for the bicentennial, including the Missouri State Parks quilt, which is on the left, depicting each of the state parks and historical sites in Missouri. It was quite a large quilt made by park staff, so they ended up with a large one and a smaller one to fit all all of their parks and historic sites on it. The quilt you see on the right-hand side of the screen is the Missouri 4-H Bicentennial Quilt, created by 4-H'ers from across the state. Each of the 8 Missouri 4-H regions submitted blocks that represent the area where they live as it relates to Missouri history. Recently, in October of 2022, this past year, the Missouri Bicentennial Quilt and the Missouri 4-H Bicentennial Quilt found a permanent home on loan at the Missouri Quilt Museum in Hamilton, Missouri, and will be on display for visitors at the museum. And I read on the town of Hamilton's website that there are weeks during the summer where the community receives as many as 10,000 visitors. So Quilt City, USA has become, if you're familiar with the transformation of this Northwest Missouri town. Another well-received project created for the Bicentennial involving thousands of Missourians was the Missouri Bicentennial Mural. Cape Girardeau artists Barb Bailey and Aaron Harrell came up with the idea for a mural that would be painted on by Missourians across the state. The artists sought the endorsement by Missouri 2021, and their idea sprang into action. Bailey and Harrell assisted Missourians across the state in painting a 12 by 30-foot mural featuring 19 state symbols. Each person was allowed to paint within a small triangle that artists had outlined as part of the design. Panels were then carried to schools, public places, libraries, even the artist's own studio to get each panel completed. It took several years to finish the mural, painted by 16,116 people of all ages, unofficially breaking the Guinness Book of World Records mark for most painters of a single mural. So here the mural was installed inside Harry's Cafe, located on the main entrance level of the Harry S. Truman State Office Building in Jefferson City, across the state capitol. Pictured at the dedication ceremony last summer are mostly state employees who worked on the building. Sherry Kemp, I believe, is on there. She's also online watching this, so she helped us get this installed as well. Along with the other artists, Bob Bailey and Aaron Harrell are in this photo, their families and members of the public who helped paint the Bicentennial mural. In 1921, artist Leonora Shaw designed a poster to celebrate 100 years of statehood and to promote the Missouri Centennial Exposition at the Missouri State Fair. This poster is part of the art collection at the State Historical Society of Missouri and was also on display in an exhibition related to Missouri at the time of statehood. A century later, Missouri students were invited to help commemorate the state's bicentennial by submitting designs for a Missouri Bicentennial poster. Submissions came from 224 students in 46 counties. Now, the challenge of this contest is that submissions came in 2020, when many schools were forced to go remote in the spring due to the pandemic. Still, parents, teachers, students, they heard our plea and they sent in their posters. 4 posters were chosen as finalists, created by 2 middle school students and 2 high school students. Each of the finalists received $200 and a certificate. They included Luke Ensor, grade 6 of Monroe County. Here he is pictured with Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, along with his parents and Michael Sweeney. Lehualini Tala, who is grade 6 of Jackson County, is pictured with her art teacher on the left and Susan Rue of Daughters of the American Revolution on the right. The Blue Springs DAR chapter sponsored the poster contest for their region. Ingrid King, grade 9 of Montauk County, was recognized at Price James Library in Tipton for her finalist design. And finally, Mia Foote, grade 11 of Cape Girardeau County, enjoyed a ceremony in her honor at Jackson High School. Hallmark Creative Marketing Studio took the 4 designs and developed a poster art for it. These posters were then exhibited at Statehood Day events in August. Professional and amateur photographers were invited to capture and share unique and meaningful places in Missouri. We called this exhibition My Missouri 2021 Photo Project. Now this image of the canoes was taken at Creve Coeur Lake in St. Louis County by photographer Sarah Maurer. Just kind of go through and show you some of the beautiful images we have here. There was an impressive 998 images, by the way, that came in from all 114 counties. And we then had to go through and select 200 of them for the exhibition. So it was very difficult. And many of these images are in the book too that we have put out. Okay, so selected photographs were displayed as a traveling exhibit to reflect the 4 seasons. Shelter Insurance Company sponsored the exhibit, which was also available online at the Bicentennial website, Missouri21.org. Now we are phasing out the Missouri 2021 website now that it's officially over, but we have moved much of the Bicentennial content and images to digital.shsmo.org, where the public can see the 200 My Missouri photos, the Bicentennial Quilt blocks, the poster contest, and Missouri Community Legacies projects online. It was fun to see some of the photographers, as you see here, visit the exhibition and point out the photograph they submitted. One of the projects that generated a lot of excitement was the Missouri Explorers Challenge. Individuals and groups who registered for the program were encouraged to travel across the state and participate in as many of the 28 challenges available to receive a merit badge button. Challenges were as diverse as our state and included Travel the Mother Road, African American Heritage, Libraries in the Lou, Missouri Conservation Challenge, German Heritage Corridor, and a walk through time at Missouri cemeteries. Participants were required to submit a photo showing that they had visited a certain number of sites. The program, which launched in January 2021, boasted 1,631 participants from more than 80 counties. We also saw it as a safer way to travel in smaller groups or individually to visit many of the locations not too far from home and learn something new. Beth and Cynthia Atkins of Jefferson City completed all 28 challenges, and they were awarded Missouri-themed gifts for completing the most challenges. And I believe that is Beth there on the corner on the right there, or on the far left. Leading up to the bicentennial year, we were often asked, are you going to have a time capsule? Well, yes, of course, but we're in the archives business, so placing the day's newspapers, photos, letters, and other memorabilia in the ground just did not seem to make a whole lot of sense in terms of preservation mindset. So we created the Bicentennial Time Capsule Project that would become a sealed collection stored in our temperature-controlled stacks away from public viewing for the next 25 years. We invited schools, local and state government agencies, businesses, and nonprofit organizations to contribute something from their past, present, and write a note to the future. Submissions came from a wide range of businesses and organizations such as Crane Brewing in Raytown, Harold's Biddles Barbecue in Salem, Anheuser-Busch Corporation, the League of Women Voters in St. Louis, Sedalia Democrat Newspaper, and Knox County Historical Society. We invited attendees at our events to fill out a card with their note to the future. The time capsule contents will reopen to the public at the State Historical Society in the year 2046. So let's all put that on our calendar, okay, for the next 25 years. A project that was near and dear to my heart during the bicentennial involved my alma mater, the Missouri School of Journalism. KBIA News students recorded stories from new and longtime Missouri residents about their thoughts of the Show Me State and their hopes for the state's future. More than 250 people stepped into 2 portable audio booths at 12 community festivals, events, and places mostly in Missouri, including the Missouri State Fair. But they did get around. They went up to Kirksville, down to the Boot Hill, where it's in Cape Girardeau and Poplar Bluff. And so It wasn't just in central Missouri. The students did travel a bit for that. Now, portable audio mics booths were also going to be needed to carry out this project, and that's something that our Missouri on Mic team had to come up with and to see what was available and what could be soundproof if we were doing this outdoors. And we also needed to be able to be cleaned easily between each use. Well, we think we found it, and so from the content of these recordings, KBI News was able to produce and air 78 4-minute stories weekly in 2021 and 2022. The Missouri on Mic series is also on KBI's website for download. The published stories, including all unedited material, will be archived at the State Historical Society of Missouri. Now, here are some of the members of the Missouri Mic team that followed the recording of new residents from Kenya and other countries following a U.S. naturalization ceremony at the state capitol on the 200th anniversary of Statehood Day. So that was really special just to hear from them right after they became naturalized citizens. Missouri 2021 offered an official endorsement to local communities, nonprofit organizations, and government agencies for projects, programs, and events that align with the mission of the Bicentennial and occurring between January 1st, 2018 and December 31st, 2021. Official endorsement included permission to use the Missouri 2021 logo and promotion on the Missouri 2021 website and social media platforms. The program had 256 participants from 73 counties. A variety of activities were endorsed, from educational resources created for the bicentennial year to a range of events and projects celebrating Missouri traditions, history, and its people. The State Historical Society of Missouri created a Missouri timeline, showcasing descriptions and images from ancestral Missouri to present day. You can find the timeline on shsmo.org under the Learn and Engage tab by clicking SHSMO Interactives. Other online projects included Missouri State University and Missouri University of Science and Technology, who each hosted a series of webinars focused on Missouri's past, present, and future in education. University of Central Missouri students researched and created historicmissouri.org to help Missouri communities tell their stories and why history matters. Missouri State Library References Services Division created an online bicentennial guide to discover Missouri history. And there were so many more of these types of projects. NU Extension and Engagement and Missouri Farm Bureau teamed up to give recognition to farms that have been in the same family continuously since 1821 or earlier. Well before statehood, farmers were tilling soil on the new frontier. To commemorate the bicentennial, 30 family farms were honored as Missouri founding farms. The earliest of the founding farms was owned by Joseph LaPlante of New Madrid County in 1792. Clifford LaPlante continues operation of the Joseph LaPlante family farm in the Boot Hill. Another large work of art made with mosaic glass was created by 20 volunteers led by professional artists and a former teacher to create a 3-foot by 5-foot mosaic artwork depicting the state bird and tree. The art piece was installed at the Senior Community Center in Blue Springs, and it's really beautiful. So if you get by Blue Springs, you can go in and check it out. It's just a really beautiful piece of artwork. Bicentennial endorsements also went to Music in the American Wild, Voices of Arrow Rock, Northeast Missouri Old Threshers, 200 Years of Progression of Agriculture, Missouri Art Now exhibition, and many more unique, creative, and fun events for the public. Connecting our past and future was a theme celebrated throughout the bicentennial year. A unique bridge project embodied this theme by connecting the Missouri Capitol Complex to Adrian's Island on the Missouri River. On December 20th, 2021, the official opening of the 830-foot-long concrete bicentennial bridge took place, welcoming strollers a safe passage above the tracks of the Union Pacific Railroad to the island. Visitors to the island can also play on the Missouri Bicentennial chessboard, which was an Eagle Scout project of 2 members of Great Rivers Council of Boy Scouts. It features images of Missouri history from the archives of the State Historical Society of Missouri and Missouri History Museum. The St. Louis Chess Club and the World Chess Hall of Fame contributed to its creation under the guidance and sponsorship of Bicentennial Commission member Jean Carnes Singfield. The Missouri Bicentennial Commission directed the planning of 4 major events to focus statewide attention on the Missouri Bicentennial, culminating with Statehood Day, August 10th, 2021 in Jefferson City. And by the way, the logos and artwork you see developed to promote these events were created by Allie Holycross, a graduating senior at St. Louis Community College at Merrimack. We worked with the graphic designs class at the college to give a unifying theme and look to the events across the state. And Allie's designs were chosen and used as bookmarks, buttons, banners, and more. The 4 main statewide events sponsored by the Bicentennial Commission and Missouri State Departments were held in different cities. The first event was held in St. Charles, the site of Missouri's first state capital at the time of statehood. Together for 21 Fest, held at the headquarters of the State Historical Society and the auditoriums on the MU campus, was a 3-day event free to the public in early August 2021, offering 50 activities for people of all ages, including live music, folk art and dance, book talks, even a virtual reality experience to visit Missouri paintings from the mid-20th century, and the planting of a young fir oak tree at Plant Branch Park in Columbia, just a couple of blocks from the State Historical Society headquarters. The Missouri Bicentennial had a daily presence at the Missouri State Fair in Sedalia in August of 2021. The fair's theme, Our Missouri Celebration, recognized the state's bicentennial with special exhibits to commemorate statehood. To create a legacy gift from the bicentennial, the Missouri Bicentennial Commission committed funds to restore the historic main gate on 16th Street, seen on the lower right hand of the screen. It's an iconic gate built in 1939. Restoration work began at the end of 2021 and was completed by early spring 2022 and dedicated last June. The Missouri Statehood Day celebration was held at the state capitol in Jefferson City on August 10, 2021. It included a formal recognition of the Missouri Bicentennial with the keynote address by Gary Kramer, Executive Director of the State Historical Society of Missouri, remarks by the Honorable Paul C. Wilson, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Missouri, and the Governor's proclamation read by Missouri Governor Michael L. Parson. Jefferson City Mayor Carrie Turgeon was the master of ceremonies. A representative of the U.S. Postal Service revealed the Missouri Statehood stamp as part of the official ceremony. Attendees had an opportunity to purchase first day of issue postage stamps featuring Missouri. The stamp was designed from a photograph taken at Bollinger Mills State Historic Site. Missouri Poet Laureate Mary Frances Wagner read a poem written for the occasion, and the ceremony featured music of the Missouri National Guard 135th Army Band and the All-State Festival Choir. Following the official ceremony on the south lawn of the state capitol, a naturalization ceremony in the Capitol Rotunda welcomed new citizens to the state. Bicentennial exhibits that had traveled the state were also set up that day at the Capitol. Public tours were held at the Supreme Court of Missouri across the street. An estimate of 1,200 people participated in the Statehood Day celebration in person at the Capitol, and another 3,000 viewed it online. Many Missourians asked that their state flag be flown above the state capitol on Statehood Day. So the Capitol Police Department were very busy from sunup to sundown hoisting state flags. Here, the K Brothers, a popular group with their own brand of traditional Ozark music, had the Missouri flag displayed as part of each of their stage shows be flown on Statehood Day. Captain Sim Schwartz said it was the largest flag her team has flown over the Capitol that she could recall. What is a birthday celebration without ice cream, right? Well, we asked residents across the state to help organize an ice cream social in their communities, and Missourians responded. 92 Missouri counties participated in the statewide ice cream social, hosted by 198 organizations on August 10, 2021. Missouri Dogs were also part of the birthday celebration. Purina Farm hosted a drive-through ice cream social. Photos of the ice cream celebrations were shared on social media using the hashtag #ScoopsAcrossMissouri. And finally, pictured here, the Missouri Bicentennial Inaugural Parade celebration took place in September of 2021, which was a fun way to involve more Missourians and was also live streamed and a great way to come together. Of course, the famous Clydesdales showed up to march in the parade. And that concludes my presentation. I'm definitely open for questions, or I can try to answer. I always think it's wise to end on a sweet note, so that's why I end up with the ice cream story. I would like to also take this time, if I could, to thank my colleagues who helped me write this book. Gary Kramer, who provided 100% for support and provided me with the well-written foreword to the book, the keynote speech he gave on Statehood Day at the Missouri Capitol. John Brenner, the brilliant managing editor of the State Historical Society, who poured over proofs with me and edited my copy so it would read much better. Danielle Grigo, a talented member of our Bicentennial team, she assisted me in gathering the many photos that are in this book, and she is also was our leader in charge of organizing the 2021 Together Fest. And let me tell you, that we had a lot of moving parts with 50 different things going on in 3 days. And I also owe gratitude to Michael Sweeney, who gave it his all for the Bicentennial. Without his actions, many of these events covered in the book may not have happened. And finally, I also like to thank my husband, who's here in the audience, our 2 adult children, Quinn and Grace. They put up with my long hours over the holidays last year to get the book ready, so I appreciate that. And Notley Hawkins, by the way, that is his picture of the Katy Bridge over the Missouri River in Boonville. Kim Wade provided many of the images for Statehood Day and Together for 21 Fest, which are featured in the book. And I'm so grateful to many Missourians who sent us their pictures and participated. And also the design of the book was Christy Lee, who worked with me well into the evenings and weekends to get this book into the press. So very much appreciate everybody, the whole team that helped put this together, and all my colleagues at the State Historical Society. So thank you for reliving this wonderful journey with me again.